Follow the rocky path! It will take you to the dragon's lair!
Where will the other one take me?
Space Ace!
Long ago in a distant land, I, J Reviews, reviewed a game. And today I'm releasing another one. So apparently there's this new Samurai Jack game coming out very soon. So I figured now would be a good time to check out the one that was released back in 2004 for the GameCube and PS2. Samurai Jack, The Shadow of Aku. Well, let's pop it in. This isn't the first time I've talked about Samurai Jack, so I'm going to use a little snippet from another video I made to explain what makes it so cool. It wasn't too much of a surprise that this show caught on, but with its beautiful scenery, mixed with sci-fi, fantasy adventure, feudal Japan influences, and often wordless storytelling, this was a cartoon like none of us had seen before and possibly ever since. Yeah, that basically sums it up. So, does this game do the series justice? Let's see. The game opens with a simple cutscene of Jack climbing a mountain and encountering a random lizard man whose village has been taken over by Aku.
No need to thank me, but I must warn you not to go that way.
I have to say that the visuals aren't the best here. Simplistic styles can work, but man, the character models look rough here. You could like slice bread with the side of his face. The backgrounds do look a bit better. I like the mixture of 2D and 3D, but we'll have to see if that holds up. The first level is like a tutorial path, introducing you to the game's mechanics. Scrolls left behind by Jack's father give you tips along the way. Humorously, instead of using his original voice actor, it's just Phil Lamar, the voice of Jack, doing an older voice.
A series of ancient scrolls here.
Besides Phil, many series regulars make a return to do voices, including Tom Kenny, Jennifer Hell, Jeff Bennett, and John DiMaggio. Oh, and we can't forget the legendary original voice actor for Aku, Mako, who unfortunately passed away before the final season came out. So anyway, this first area teaches you the basics. Jack is able to jump and double jump to reach platforms. You can use Jack's sword for quick attacks, heavy attacks, and blocking. Along with that, you can pick up throwing stars and arrows for projectiles. Arrows are slightly stronger and allow you to aim more openly, but the speed of the throwing stars makes them much more useful. Besides this, Jack has a Zen Meter, which when used slows down time and makes your attack stronger. And there's also some special combo moves you can pick up if you happen to find them. You have to hold block and input the combo, which can take a little time, but if you pull them off, they're actually pretty awesome and practical. The normal attacks and jumping don't feel bad either. It's not as polished as, say, a Mario game, but it feels a little better than what you might expect from a TV licensed game. There's an auto lock-on that focuses you on one enemy at a time that usually works fine, though occasionally it goofs up on who you'd prefer to be focusing on. Your goal here is just to get through these generic robot enemies and hazards. As you make your way, there's two collectibles you'll be focusing on. Relics, which can be used later for upgrades, and prisoners, which reward you with special swords if you rescue enough of them. Other than that, you can pick up sushi to regenerate health, armor to keep you from taking a few hits of damage, and you can destroy enemies to regenerate your Zen Meter. Other than that, you just make your way to the exit, which here happens to be a very familiar looking bridge. And you're done with the level. After this, you make your way to the first hub. Here there's a few different levels that you must complete before making your way into the boss store and then moving on to the next world where you'll have to do the same. You can upgrade your strength, health meter, or Zen meter by spending relics, and also regenerate with items found in boxes. Just be careful not to hit the chickens, they'll grow giant and attack you if you do. I also gotta mention that the Connecting Worlds hub really reminds me of the main room in Gauntlet Legends. Classic game. Anyway, the levels here introduce you to more specific goals like saving the king, destroying an Aku statue, and putting out a fire. There's more enemies and more area to explore, though the creatures you fight are all pretty much pushovers that get stunned with your basic attacks, and the environment isn't particularly interesting. There's a mini-boss here that takes a little more strategy to defeat, but after you figure out his weakness, he's pretty easy too. The cutscenes, while scarce, also seem to portray the writing from the series pretty well. Jack is just as stoic and honorable as ever.
His most valuable treasure. If you...
I have no need for treasure.
Alright, finishing up the final level here, putting out this building fire, and now we should be able to go fight the first world boss. If you free more of my people, perhaps they can help me find him. Wait a second, they're not saying you actually need to find every single prisoner in order to progress through the game, right? That'd be a bit much. Well, he does say I need to find more of his people. None of the missions really relate to that, and I'm actually only missing a single prisoner, so I'm guessing that's what I have to do. I'll just go find him. 30 minutes later. Alright, so I've been looking by myself for half an hour now to no avail. And finally, I'm just gonna say screw it, I'm gonna use a walkthrough. Turns out, this one prisoner was stuck behind this subtle crack in a specific wall that you have to break down, when none of the other prisoners were hidden like that. Well, there's 30 minutes I won't ever get back. At least we finally found him, and now we can fight the boss. Find more people.
What? Find more of your people? I already found all of them. 100%. What's going on here?
Okay, to save you the madness I was going through during this part of the playthrough, I'll just explain what happened. Each of the levels have very clear missions that once completed allow you to return to the hub and continue on, usually unlocking more levels to play. When I was doing the level where you have to destroy the Aku statue, which I did, after its destruction there was no clear exit. So I simply went back to the entrance of the level, which, yes, takes you back to the hub. The statue had been destroyed and I 100%ed the area, and the third level was now available, so I was certain there was nothing left to do. Well, this is wrong. Turned out I missed one crucial detail. After destroying the statue, you're supposed to go underneath it, which I did initially, but you're supposed to stand on it for a full 5 seconds so a hidden elevator can take you down. Down to what? Nothing. No special cutscene or area. It just finishes the level and spits you out to the hub all the same. And now the boss door is unlocked. Yeah, I didn't have to save all the villagers after all. Why does the elevator take so long to trigger? Why did they mislead me by suggesting that I had to save more people? Why were some levels inexplicably locked at first and then unlocked later, confusing me on if I had completed the previous one already? I have no idea, but this wasted a lot of time. And to think, if I had just found that one missing villager my first time through, I would have avoided all this misunderstanding in the first place. I'm really hoping that this boss battle makes up for that. Well, it's basically 2 of those mini-boss robots at the same time, and that's it. Well, that was totally worth the extra 40 minutes I spent wandering around aimlessly. So the second world is structured the same as the first, this time with these wood gnomes that you're helping out instead of lizards.
He looks nice.
Unfortunately, this is where I start running out of additional things to say about the game. We're introduced to some new types of enemies, a different level aesthetic, and our prisoners look different now, but other than that, it's basically more of the same. In fact, this is where chopping through the many enemies begins to feel like that gameplay filler you see in many mediocre games. The enemies aren't so much getting more difficult as they're just throwing more of them on the screen than they did before, and you'll often find yourself just running past enemies instead of bothering to take them out at all. The only noteworthy things I really have to say about this world is this one annoying part where you're climbing up a tower, and if you fall, instead of dying, you have to work your way all the way back up. Also, this part, the game literally just crashed on me while I was destroying boxes with a special move, so that's cool. Oh, we got a more unique boss this time, but he was also a pretty big pushover, going down in only 3 hits to his weak spot. World 3 we get another change in environment, this time taking place in an underground mine. There's some more new enemies, but nothing super different. I like these skeletons because they're so slow it makes them really easy to skip past without fighting. I shouldn't like enemies for that reason. Besides that, it's really much of the same. If anything, this part actually feels easier than World 2, which is a bit inconsistent difficulty-wise. You're even back to saving the lizard people again instead of some new species of prisoner, which is kinda disappointing. One good thing about this world I can say, however, is that it contains probably my favorite level. Here you have to avoid security sensors and leap through laser hallways like that infamous part in Resident Evil 4. This part of the game feels a lot less fillery, and even if you do get seen by the cameras, the punishment is hardly anything, sending out less enemies than you'd fight on any other level normally. The boss of this world is a big lava creature, and he's also really easy to fight. Another 3 hits to the weak point to win. After this, we make our way to the fourth and final world, Aku City. This is a pretty iconic location from the series, but at this point you can probably guess that the level design isn't much better here compared to the previous worlds. There is at least a little more variety though. One level has us rescuing the Scotsman, which includes a very lackluster boss battle that makes him seem like a weakling compared to on the show, and he has jiggle physics, which is interesting. It is nice that he makes an appearance though. Other levels have us platforming around the inner workings of a giant clock tower and leaping a sky freeway full of flying cars. These parts make it a lot more obvious that the platforming in this game isn't exactly the tightest, but at least they try to be creative. After you've completed all the levels here, it's time to penetrate Aku's fortress. Here you just gotta run past some shadow ninjas, fight some shadow ninjas, yada yada. Soon enough you get to a familiar villain, Mad Jack. There isn't really much to it, just use your special combo moves to take him out and destroy the robot bodies he flees to. Strangely, the animations on the machines are probably the most detailed in the game. Beat Mad Jack and we finally get to go face to face against Jack's mortal enemy, the great and powerful... Ugh.
Oh my god. What happened to Aku's face? It looks like someone left him outside for too long and he started melting in the sun. How did they mess him up this badly?
The boss fight here is rightfully the most challenging in the game, but that is to say that it isn't very challenging whatsoever. First, Aku surrounds you with a bunch of mini soldier versions of himself, which sets them up for the perfect use of your windmill attack, which by the way is the most OP move in the game. It's actually a little too OP, and it's the second move that you can unlock. There's several other ones that you get afterwards that are just worthless in comparison, so it didn't really make sense to give it to you so early on. Not gonna lie, this is pretty satisfying. After a while, Aku will take a different form that occasionally shapeshifts, but he's still no match for your windmill, especially if you combo it by using your Zen mode. Just keep spamming that until he's done, and we are rewarded with an ending scene. It isn't really anything new, and looks kinda ugly, but it's something I guess. So this game, at the beginning I was pleasantly surprised that the gameplay worked well enough and the levels didn't seem to overstay their welcome. Unfortunately, as the game went on, it revealed more and more of those same stereotypical bad game issues that I was hoping it would avoid. The cutscenes are nice and true to the show for the most part, but too rare to feel like a good enough reward to play through all the filler. Overall, most of the levels just felt like a chore to get through. It's not even that long of a game, but it felt like it took forever. It's really too bad because I think that the game at least had the foundation to be a little better than it was. If you're a big Samurai Jack fan, as I am, I'd say to skip this one. It just isn't worth it. Although I did unlock some cool background art for beating the game on normal, so that's nice, I guess.
Okay, that was Samurai Jack: The Shadow of Aku for the GameCube. It wasn't good. But you know what? It actually makes the fact that we're getting a new Samurai Jack game even better. Maybe the new one could give us everything that was missing from this one, while leaving out all the crap. If the trailer's anything to go by, then it looks pretty promising. In fact, I hear rumors that famed YouTuber Dragnix is going to stream it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna check that out.